Hello and welcome to my UE4 design test. This level revolves around a player travelling through a city, trying to escape, whilst engaging in firefights with enemies and also a moment of calm while trying to sneak past enemies. So the player starts here, under the drawbridge of the castle which he just escaped from. The player will walk up to here and press E, and they'll climb across and drop down to the other side. The player will then make their way up here to the street side, and they'll crouch here. And these two enemies here will talk about hearing that an enemy has escaped, and that the red light in the center of the map, that one just there, that's rotating, will be able to find you. So that hints that the player should try to avoid that light when it comes round, because they will become more visible to enemies. The player must try and avoid vision cones of enemies, as well as patrols, as well as the red light that goes around. The camera will pan up, showing this tower here, with the orange light at the top, which symbolises an objective, and the player will say that he needs to get there to assess his options and see where he can escape. So the player must try and move carefully through here, trying to move in the shadows, moving in between patrols, and moving when that red light is not on this side of the tower. So we can sneak through here, try and move when people aren't looking, try and move when that's not near us, jump over this wall, hide in this tall grass, and make our way into the tower. This elevator will take us to the top of the tower, where we can assess our options. When at the top, the player can see over there outside the walls, underneath the orange light is a plane, and the player will say that he needs to get there to try and escape. The player will then be confronted by this NPC, who says they are also trying to leave the city, that they have a boat near the harbour, near the docks, that the player can also use if they want to. But the player says that he'd rather try and escape alone, because he doesn't know who to trust. So the player will come here. There's an orange light down on that building. That means the player must try and get down there. And they have to try and time the zip line for when the red light is not near. So it's gone now. We'll zip line down. Try and iron time. And then here, we have to try and take a run up. And make it across here. And then here, the player will hint that you can use your gun to take out certain lights to make it easier to maneuver past enemies. So this light here has a light blue hue, which means that they are just breakable. So the player can aim with the right mouse button and use the left mouse button to shoot and take out the light to make it easier to maneuver. The player can then jump across here, avoiding the red light. And here they will hear two NPCs talk about exports from the city, and this gives the player the hint that they can escape via the back of that truck there. And there's also two light blue lights here, which means they're destructible, so the player can shoot these, take them out, and then when the red light's gone, sneak down, and then once we're in the back of here, the van will take us outside of the city walls. The doors will open and close behind us. And then once we get far enough, the player will jump out of the van towards the plane. But as the player gets close to the plane, we see these two enemies up here on the cliff. As the player gets close, they will send down a rocket to destroy the plane, which will blast the player back towards the dock doors, where there are soldiers waiting for him, and the player will have to engage in a fight to defeat these enemies and make his way through the dock to his second escape plan, which is the boat. So the player must go through here, try and take out the enemies if you can, taking cover. And then as you make your way through, taking out as many as you can. The player will be overwhelmed by the amount of enemies here and be pushed this way towards this orange light. So the player can then jump down here, slide, and then get launched at the end towards the escape boat, which will then be sent this direction. And the player can use this minigun here to shoot all the enemies on the cliffside that are trying to prevent his escape.